Hey everybody, going to make a quick video on some basic weathering techniques. So I've got this Iron Warriors Rhino I've been working on for Toys for Tots this year, and I'm just going to do some simple weathering on it. I'm going to use three simple techniques. One is I'm going to use the airbrush to kind of give it like a faded mud effect around the outside, around the bottom edges. I'm going to use a pigment that closely matches the color I'm going to spray on to give that some depth, and then lastly I'm going to use some stippled rust effects. So what I've got here is a Badger Model Flex color Roof Brown, which is very similar to this Vallejo Pigment Burnt Umber, which is kind of like a mud color, brownish mud. Side here. Nice thing about the Model Flex is that it's pretty much ready to spray out of the jar, except for this stupid thing here. Okay, so I'm going to kind of use this magic card to practice with here, because I don't want. It looks good to me. So again, we're going to kind of not spray it directly on, but we're going to kind of spray it so that most of the paint will actually go underneath the bottom edge here. Stuff is pretty thin. I'm going to take a few coats here to build up any significant color. The best part of using the airbrush is that you can put it on as lightly or as heavily as you want for the particular application. In this case, you know, that's not too bad. So you have a lot of control over how far. Oops. And there we go. I think that's going to be good for this step. We got some nice muddy effects all around the tracks. And then after this dries, we're going to go with some pigments and some rust, just minor rusting on the edges and stuff like that, nothing too big. But that's going to be it for that part. So I'm going to let this dry and come back later. Hey everybody, so we're going to continue now with part 2 of the weathering. You can see the airbrush work came out very nicely. Very happy with that. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of rust, not a whole lot. I'm going to be doing some stippling with sponges. The sponges, I got a package of like 6 at the dollar store. Cut this one in half, kind of rough, so I can have a smooth edge and a rough edge. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some, probably, I might add some more roof brown to it, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, we're going to use Vallejo Model Air Rust and Troll Slayer Orange, which is basically a newer version of blazing orange. So we're going to get some rust here in the palette. We're going to concentrate mainly on the edges here. I don't want a whole lot of rust on it in general. Stick that on some of the sponge here. I'm just going to kind of go around. Concentrate on the edges and on the dust stacks. Nothing too dramatic here. Some rust on there, but nothing too dramatic. And the same thing with some of this orange, which is pretty thick. And you really, really want only light amounts of this stuff on there. Just go back over where you've already gone. Just a little dab of orange. Rust isn't just one color. The thing I don't like about stippling is it just takes a long time, really, to get a particular effect. So it's not really nice. Really can be a quick, easy technique, but if you want a particular look, you really need to spend some time at it. That looks good. So I didn't want a whole lot of overly dramatic rust. Just in a couple spots. There's some more right there to get. I really like how that turned out. Subtle weathering, but nothing too overtly dramatic. So, and unfortunately though, kind of just mainly concentrating on the edges here and there. So that's what we do in this part, and now the next step I'm going to let this dry again, and I'm going to varnish it before I go on to the last step, which is the pigments. So I'll catch you then. Okay, the final part of weathering is going to be some pigments. We're going to use, there we go, sorry, the Vallejo is burnt umber. So I said it's going to be a similar brown here. It's not an exact match, but it's close. Now if you look online and on YouTube and stuff, you're going to see a lot of different ways to actually use pigments. Setting solutions and whatnot. My personal favorite though is glue. I found that if you use just normal liquids in your pigments, especially with models you play a lot, they come off really easily, and the glue actually helps keep the pigments on the model a lot better than alcohol or other setting options. So, but I want it really runny, almost as thin as possible, but just a touch of glue. So glue, water. I'm going to mix this up, be right back. Okay, it's all mixed up. The tacky glue doesn't like to mix very well, so it takes a little bit of, but it's really thin. I don't know if you might probably be able to see it, but it's not a whole lot different than water. So let's get some of the pigments here onto my palette. All we're going to do, if we can get this stuff in focus here, just going to start applying some of the pigments. And of course, how you apply them really comes down to if you want something that's thick or it's kind of thin. So really what I'm trying to do here is just add some depth to the color here instead of just inundating the tracks. I mean, if you want a thick mud, you can definitely just pile on the pigments, kind of like that. It's not really the effect I want, I don't think, anyway. So a little bit of depth here to the mud. You can add just a little bit of texture. Glue, in my opinion, is the best way to get this stuff to actually stick on a model that you're going to be handling a lot. Everything else, especially if you like try and varnish over it, then the pigments will actually absorb the varnish and like disappear. It's kind of very annoying. So you unfortunately can't just varnish over the pigments, which is why I've varnished this one already before doing this. Okay, I think that's going to be good. So I think I will go over that stuff after it's dried with the roof brown and kind of get a dry brush, because the roof brown's a little bit different color. And yeah, looks like the track's been kicking around some mud. And that's going to be it for this weathered Iron Warriors Rhino. After it's all done, I'll put some pics up. Thanks for watching.